Welcome to On the Edge with Deneen Dias. Today, my guest is Dave Bergstein, and we're going to spend the next half hour really talking about the future of the profession. Dave, you've been in this space for a long time. You're a thought leader around tech and talent. Please introduce yourself.
Good day. My name is David Bergstein. Let's consider myself the old guy in accounting. I'm a CPA, CITP, what else? CGMA, Notary Public if you want to get married in Florida. That's available. I'll probably lose all my status when I don't take CPE anymore after I reach my next renewal period. I'm finishing up my CPE because it ends June 30th, 2023. So I'll be licensed until 2025. And at that time, I will be ancient and moving on. I'm on the edge in accounting right now, which means I've seen everything in accounting. I've done everything in accounting. I'm presently teaching college students why accounting is exciting, and it's difficult to get them into the exciting mode, but I think I'm taking it through that. I'm taking them through the transactions and telling them it's all about advisory services in the future and helping your clients make decisions, because that's truly the future. And I have my own little practice that I'm ending up. I've already worked on transitioning my tax clients. This will be the last year that I'm doing tax returns, and I'm glad about that. I've got a bunch under my belt already here, and it's only March 2nd. Got a couple more. I got a number more left to go, but hopefully it'll be done soon. And then I can start to move over the edge and to play more pickleball. But I believe accounting is a great career. It's hard to get people to go into it. It's a talent crunch. We'll talk a little bit about that. But I believe the future of accounting relates to utilizing technology. Now, I've worked with large firms more in a consulting capacity. I'm a solo practitioner. You know, there's, let's just say 400,000 of us solo small practitioners. And we're not going away. And compliance work is never going to go away. But if you transition your compliance into an advisory type service and the tax return and the financial statements as deliverables, you've changed the nature of your practice where you can increase the value of what you're selling. That's a little bit about me.
Yeah, no, there's never a lack of conversation with you, Dave, because you've been doing this for so long. But I really like the way you think about constantly thinking about the profession. You're constantly thinking about who's coming in and out of the profession. And so let's start off with the trends that you're seeing, like how technology is changing the role of the accountant or changing the profession. Because I think, you know, we're hearing a lot about ChatGPT, which we're going to talk about, but that's caused a lot of interest, I think, in all areas, especially accounting, since that's launched this year. And I think there's a lot of fear. And I get excited by it, but I'm really good with change. So we'd love to kind of have your thoughts on those trends around technology.
Okay, and I'm all about change too, because I think that's what the world is all about. And I'm assuming you can see my slide that says Botkeeper up there, and I'll move it in a second. But let's realize what accounting is. Accounting is a process of recording, sorting, summarizing economic data in terms of dollars to permit informed decisions. So what does that really mean? It really means that everything in accounting can move automatically if it's digital. And I believe I have up on my slide here, CPA.com, Accounting Profession Megatrends 2021. I pulled up the CPA.com slides. No sense making my own slides. CPA.com is the marketing arm of the AICPA. So they have all the research of the AICPA behind it. And actually, they're the money machine driving through marketing, selling products that move forward and compete with others. So I'm not going to say which is best, but they do have some of the best slides. And when we look at these slides, and this is 2021, CPA.com identified megatrends, plotted on and makes it official, the Gartner Hype Cycle framework. And as you look at everything that's been going on the past couple of years, and again, I remember 1979 and 1980 when I started in accounting, you know, pencil. There's no
Yeah.
need to pick up a pencil. Everything is connected to a device at this point.
I'm paperless. I'm completely paperless. I can't even tell you the last time I wrote a check. And
Okay, I do have a video out there that shows no one can be totally paperless. You'll have to check it out.
okay.
It's from a French toilet paper company, which shows the accountant being digital with his wife and yelling at her. And then when he needed toilet paper, she put under the door an iPad with a picture of toilet paper on it.
I've seen that. That's hilarious.
So you can't be totally paperless. That's to keep it levity. So
But,
if you look at what we see here in the CPA.com megatrends, responsible AI, adaptive machine learning, again, AI, artificial intelligence, machine learning, prescriptive analysis, machine learning, data lakes, more data, blockchain. You can see things going through. The innovation trigger, the peak of inflated expectations. I like that. Sort of like a romance, peak of inflated expectations. The trough of disillusionment. 5G and 6G. 5G is out there now. What that means is faster, quicker speed, better able to move information. When it gets to 6G, you can see a tremendous change in how things are done. You're actually going to see robotic operations in the medical field. RPA, robotic process automation, automating scripts, Internet of Things, predictive analysis. You can see OCR, cloud computing. I moved to 2022.
Well, go back a second, Dave. Go back a second. So I used to work, and that's where I first met you, at CPA.com, and I started at CPA.com in 2008. And back then, firms told me they weren't interested in the cloud. And back then, also, firms told me they didn't even trust email. So, I mean, look at where we are now in 2028. I can't imagine. I mean, before, firms didn't want to email anything to their clients. Right now, they don't even go to see their clients. Everything is done through email. And so that's just showing, and look at where cloud computing is, plague of productivity. So yeah, if you go to the next slide, I'd love to look at how these have moved and what's next.
Okay, and by the way, even though everything is, it depends if you're a boomer, a millennial, whichever way you are, Gen Z, but you still need face-to-face with your clients to bond, and face-to-face networking. Doesn't mean you got to go to the office every day. Face-to-face is a Zoom meeting with me in some cases.
Yes.
But you need a relationship. Everything's about relationship. If you're doing transactional work, you're not going to bond with your client. You're not going to be able to increase the value of your services. Cloud computing started with nothing, and now everybody's on cloud computing. Has to be. You know, if you, just the proliferation of cell phones. So at the beginning of 2022, they came out with another hype cycle, and you can see machine readable legislation, edge AI. AI is getting faster, but it's always about analytics. In accounting, the future here is being able to take that analytics and make decisions and help your clients know what to do next based on past analytical information. NFTs were big. They're still big. Non-fungible tokens, people painting digital art and selling it, or coins. Self-service data analytics, a proliferation of accounting firms. You know, we're offering HR services to our clients. We're offering payroll to our client, and that's more self-service. I don't have to do the payroll for my client. I set it up, and
that's right.
It's done. HR, the client, the employee fills out the information, takes the test, gets rated. And crypto assets keep moving around. I'm not 100% of a lover of crypto assets, but my friend Dr. Sean Stein is the expert. I'll go to him on that. RPA, again, predictive analytics, digital workplace. These are the slides of the last 3 years, and this is what they came out with at their last digital CPA meeting in December of this past year. And you can see, actually, crypto assets are somehow falling off, but they're still there. They're now called digital assets. Blockchain is, you know, changed a little in terms of what it's called, but dynamic risk, now it's about risk. How do I govern, how do I manage risk? Edge computing, fast. Endpoint security, everything's about security, but predictive analytics, RPA, and what's not on this chart even though this came out in December, is what we're going to talk about in a second, ChatGPT. But you can see, as an accountant, technology is there. It's not going to do away with my job. I'm a solo
No,
practitioner. My job doesn't change. I just do
that's right.
different things for my
In a different
clients.
way. In a different way. Yeah.
Right. As a
Agreed.
solo, I'm more of a quarterback. I picked up, again, I don't really take new clients on, but I have clients that are the children of the people I've been doing returns for and accounting work for. And now I'm turning them into, we need wealth management. They're making money. They got to figure out what to do. So I'm quarterbacking and hooking them up. Again, if it was a large firm, I put them in a different department because most of the large firms, as we're talking about accounting, accounting is the loss leader. They're becoming consulting firms, professional services. Wealth management is a big part of it.
Yeah.
Mergers and acquisitions, advice, HR. So
Yeah.
things are changing in the accounting profession, especially as private equity comes in on the larger scale and audits moving over to a
Yeah.
different, and will audit grow? Probably with environmental governance and different types of audits, but who knows
Yeah.
where the future is? I think the big bucks for an
Mhm.
accountant are in the advisory space and helping their client grow. That doesn't mean we don't do the compliance. So
Right.
can I move over to ChatGPT for a second now,
Yes,
which is
please.
not on its chart? And let's see if I can
Yeah.
change my screen. Let's see if you can tell me if I did it right. Do I
Okay.
have ChatGPT up here now on the screen?
Sure do.
Okay, well, ChatGPT is this, I'll give the definition, is the sibling model to instruct GPT. What does that mean? It's trained to follow an instruction in a prompt and provide a detailed response. ChatGPT really stands for Chat Generative Pre-trained Response. It's AI, and its value is growing. Now, ChatGPT was released in November 2022 by OpenAI, a research company. Actually, Elon Musk was involved in that in the beginning. I think head of LinkedIn is part of that also, has some money in it. But more than 100 million users of ChatGPT since November. It's the
Wow.
fastest growing consumer application out there. Microsoft invested $10 billion in it. Google has invested 300 million in a competitor of OpenAI, but it's all ChatGPT. Now, what I have up on the screen here is OpenAI's ChatGPT screen. And I'm just going to do something simple. I'm looking at the screen. I'm going to type in, is there value for bots? Because this is Botkeeper and accounting. Let's see what I get. Now, it's not 100% right when it comes to asking about individuals, because it's looking at public databases through 2021. So it's looking at Wikipedia, it's looking at the internet, it's looking at everything that's out there. And here we can see, yes, there is value for bots in accounting. Bots can automate repetitive, time-consuming tasks in accounting. And anybody who's looking at this can read this, but I'm going to say, please turn this into a letter for my client, if I spelled it right. And let's see what happens.
I like this. The overall, the use of bots in accounting can lead to increased efficiency, improved accuracy, and cost savings for the business, which is what Botkeeper, that's what we are doing for firms. It's exactly the value of Botkeeper. And I think, we do work with firms where the talent says, well, if we bring in Botkeeper, what am I going to do? But it's happening. So they have to shift, they have to change. Doesn't mean that they don't have a job there. There's a huge need for that talent at the firm still. It's just they can do it. So, look at this. They don't need to write a letter anymore, right? This letter is written in 30 seconds. Yeah,
Right.
it's different.
And again, you got to look at it, review it. But
For sure.
right now, ChatGPT is a great administrative assistant to
Yeah.
everybody. And you can see, I asked it to type the letter. And, maybe I don't like the letter. I can go, make it snappy. So you can pick your own style
Yeah.
and generate it. And I'm just keeping it simple. By
Yeah.
the way, I wanted to know what the business climate was in Honduras. Someone was asking me a question about the business climate in Honduras. I asked the question. See how I made a snappy little letter here? I asked the question, what's the business climate in Honduras? And then I said, write the letter in Spanish,
Oh,
because it can
wow.
translate immediately into
Wow.
other languages. So,
It's
you know,
powerful. It's powerful. I have this. My husband set this up for me. And the way I've been using it is I present a lot, and it takes me a lot of time because I want to customize the decks, and I have different topics that I, change. And so I do a lot of research on data and statistics and trends. And boom, I mean, I just type it in there and it's so much. I mean, you can do that on Google, but this is different. The way that this is different. And you just displayed how you can pull it up in different ways instead of looking here and looking there and looking there. It just pulls all the data together. And so that's the power of the data. And that's what I believe technology is allowing us to have, is data at the snap of our fingertips. And now how we use it as humans is what I think you're talking about, is for firms, how we can now use all this data, because firms have more client data, than anyone. How can they use this data to have meaningful discussions with their clients, to advise their clients on future trends?
and by the way, this is the free version. For $20, I can get more.
Oh.
Just
Oh,
for one of the simple thing. Please,
oh.
now I haven't typed this in
Oh, wow.
before. I typed something similar. Let's see what it does. I don't know what the answer is going to be because I haven't done it before. So let's see what we get, just to give you an idea, because I'm an accountant. Maybe I got to help someone do a sales budget.
Huh. Wow. You haven't done this before?
I did something about sales budget plan, but I didn't type it this way. So
This is great.
I'm continually testing. I've been testing this for about 3 weeks now. So I know if I looked up David Bergstein CPA, it gives me wrong information because
Does
it's
it?
only public information. But when
Okay.
it comes to this type of stuff, it's pretty good. See, I don't have to go and hire somebody and outsource. I can type my own letters and copy and paste.
This is great. Well, and I didn't see this, Dave, on the charts, but I was at a CPA.com digital conference a couple of years ago, and they had a futurist speaking, and the futurist talked about some really cool things that he, saw coming down the pike. Voice activation was one of them. And so I know we have that with Alexa, right? Alexa, tell me what time it is. She knows I'm on the East Coast, right? Alexa, tell me what the
So
weather
if
is.
I pull out of my drawer my iPad and do this, I don't have to type. I can just say,
See?
write sales plan. So, because my iPad is voice activated, I don't have voice on here.
That's
So
cool.
yes, this works with me just telling it to do something.
And what this futurist said, though, is we'll be able to eventually say, hey, Alexa, book my flight to New York City on December 3rd. Alexa's going to know I like to fly Delta, that I like to fly into LGA. She's going to know, right? Hey, Alexa, buy me jeans on it. And she's going to know that my size, what jeans I like on Amazon. So that what that means, though, for firms, he said, is businesses are going to be able to say, Alexa, tell me my Q4 earnings. And so what does that mean for firms, right? Firms, if the client is going to be able to ask Alexa or whatever for this type of data on their own numbers, right? She can tell you what your Q4 earnings are, but a human needs to then have that discussion with the business owner for what that means for them, and what if they change this, what sales could affect sales, or if they do this and do the forecasting and look at the benchmarking, all of those things. I think is what's next for the profession. And I just wonder, Dave, what are you seeing firms do now, knowing that this is happening now?
See, the big thing here, and just as you put it, the big thing is to prepare for it. Right now, it's great on looking up historical information. And I talked to an entrepreneur yesterday that called me and says, I want to do some stuff with ChatGPT and make it come up better research. I said, it's not about giving answers. It's about pulling data from a data set And that's the analytics. As an accountant, they're saying, hey, I did 500 financial statements. I got X number of tax clients. Let me see what the main deduction everybody takes, so I can see if it's legitimate. Let me see what the average earnings, what the average gross profit in this niche in the business is. Pulling that data so I can compare my client to someone else. The APIs have to be written to pull data, not just information that's in the form of the printed word. So there's great things happening. And one thing a futurist once told me, you can't predict the future, because whatever happens today, you don't know what's going to be there tomorrow. Just like nobody predict all of a sudden ChatGPT, 1,000 users.
Right.
The world is changing, and accounting is never going to go away, because it's the language of business and people need information. It will be automated to the hilt where it can be, but it's a knowledge business, and you still need people to build and explain the knowledge at the end. So I look at, that's one of the reasons I'm glad I'm on the edge here with Botkeeper, because you're on the edge with what you're doing with Botkeeper, because you're pulling other tools into the bot to make it more than just a one-dimensional bot. You're connecting other tools to it to automate whatever you can in the process to make the accountant's life easier. So I see that happening here.
Yeah. Well, and I think the great thing about Botkeeper is not only do we have the tech, but we also have the talent. And so at a time where there's a shortage of bookkeepers, firms aren't getting this work done on time. They're not able to grow because they can't take on new clients. And so this piece of it, we've already automated with the AI, and then we have the human oversight. Our team takes the first blush of that so that the firm is freed up to grow. Or, what I'd love to talk about next, I'm watching the time, we have 8 more minutes, is the talent. And so I know talent is really struggling with this change because they're used to doing the work they're used to doing. And now there's all these new services. They're not necessarily comfortable. What you just described, I think the talent's not comfortable, having those types of discussions with firms. And so as somebody who's educating these college students, like, what are you seeing? Who is coming into the profession? And when they graduate, what are their expectations when they go to a firm?
Well, actually, it's hard to get them to understand the value of accounting, because in most cases they haven't been exposed to it. All they think of is accounting is math. I'm bad with numbers. I got to add and subtract. When I try to show them the relationships, how they make decisions, even on going out to buy their own car or filling out an application to rent an apartment, that they have to have so much in assets and the term asset, liability, and equity. I'm explaining to them they have to have a generalistic knowledge of accounting if they're going to go into business. They have them come in and say, I'm going to be in international business, I'm going to be in marketing, I'm going to be an entrepreneur, and know nothing about accounting. So I'm showing them how we can automate the accounting, and I'm actually showing them dashboards and showing how to do advisory. And the expectation that I'm telling them is they really got to take a data analytics course. They got to be able to communicate. And there is a level of, I'm not a professing everybody do an audit, but the capital markets are there. You always need to audit the capital market. But I think a new type of firm, this is just me in the future, a new type of firm is going to sprout out that may be semi-governmental or semi-autonomous, because it's doing an audit that has to be independent. And they're going to conduct independent audits to keep the capital market flowing. But everybody else is a consultant, because why do you go to a doctor? You go to a doctor because you want to be healthy. Why do you go to an accountant? You want to be fiscally healthy and responsible. And it's more than just the accounting. It's about where are you in your stage of life? If you're just getting married, what's your budgeting process?
Right.
What's your plan to grow? How are you going to build a nest egg? What's your succession plan in business? You're starting a business. What's your end game?
Right.
So accountants are changing from number crunches to advisors. And I think that's going to continue.
You and I have talked about this because I've been helping firms build out this newer part of the practice where it's client advisory services for the last 15 years. And I have met the most talented people at firms, and so many of them have left because they feel stuck in a system that doesn't support the type of profitable, practice they're trying to build. And so they're going off, a lot of them, and they're starting their own consulting practice or professional services type of practice. And so I'm seeing a lot of the talent that is fighting that internal political fight just leave. They give up and they leave. I
They
think
don't really give up. The great example is I know someone who was at a top 100 firm in the Southeast here. They wanted him to do something he didn't want to do. He saw the beauty of client accounting services, broke away, created his own firm probably about 4 years ago. And I'm watching that grow with new people. They don't call themselves an accounting firm. Actually, a lot of the accounting firms aren't calling themselves an accounting firm. They're calling themselves a consulting firm. And they're growing by leaps and bounds without doing audits. And again, look at the field. We got this pilot, which is backed by Jeff Bezos, entering the field. You got actually, I don't know where I put my little card here, but I had KPMG Spark.
Yep.
The large firm, they spun off into Decimal Accounting Suites, Deloitte Private, PwC, Bookkeeping Connect. They all see the value in their different model, attracting different people, more of a corporate model instead of you can be an accountant, you got to wait 30 years to be a partner. So younger people see, hey, this is a corporate model. I'm attracted to this. I'm going in this direction.
I'm watching those trends too, Dave, and that is who I think is the firm's biggest competitor, not the other firm down the street that's also doing audit and tax and accounting, right? Because everything starts with the transaction. So the people that are looking at the transactional data and advising on the transactional data are the ones I think that is the future of the profession, because again, it's the power of the data and the discussions that you can have around the data. And so you're right, they're not giving up, they're leaving to go start their own thing, and they're jamming. I can give you tons of examples of people that are jamming, but that upsets me because I want the profession to thrive. And I also want them to encourage these progressive individuals to stay and thrive. And I am also suggesting that firms start hiring data analysts, right? Bring that talent into the firms, protect them, but allow them to work on several clients and thrive, because it's what the clients are hungry for.
I agree with you 100%. We're all on the edge of, I like this, we're all on the edge of what's happening out there. What accounting firms have to do is increase their salary to make it attractive. Call yourself an accountant, a data analytics person. The CPA exam is changing to promote the different emphasis out there. But a lot of the attracting the talent comes down to, should I do this for $50,000 or should I do this for $100,000? Salary is important in this particular end of the game. So the accounting profession is going to be here for a long time. It's going to change. It's going through different models.
Yes, well, and I wanted to just mention that Botkeeper has written a blog called The Firm of the Future. So we're going to put that in the chat here. Anybody that wants to read the blog, we've got some of those types of thinking. And then I'm watching the time, Dave. We've got 2 more minutes. How do people connect with you?
I'm on LinkedIn, David Bergstein. They can connect with me there, or Twitter. I'm here to help people. And again, I leave you with my ChatGPT, and is it still up on the screen?
It is.
My favorite question, which I just got answered from ChatGPT.
What was
the name? What was the name of the duck on the Groucho Marx show? This is an oldie, and it got the right name. I checked it out.
It did?
The duck that came down. And the name of the duck is Julius. No, Dippity Duck? No, that's the wrong name. It's Julius. Here's the wrong answer. So this is actually a wrong answer.
Huh. So the last time
it gave me the right answer. You got to go back and check. That's why I'm saying questions like this don't always come up with the right answer.
Right. Yeah,
But
but I mean, this is in its infancy. I mean, to your point, it just launched, right? It's in its infancy, but imagine the power of what this is going to be in the next year. That's the thing that I want firms to start thinking about now. It's like, what are you doing now, knowing that this is happening now, for your goals for not just this year, but what are you doing now for your goals for 2024? What are you doing now to use all this technology to automate and evolve and change? What are your goals? What do you want to be in 2025? So I thank you, Dave, as always. You make me laugh. I love talking to you. I appreciate, I know where your heart is. You really want to educate and help the profession to continue to become a firm of the future.
my goal is to be in the top 7 over 70. Okay. Before I get to 8 over 80.
There you go. I know you're going to make it. All right, everybody. Thanks so much.